Our next speaker is Ms. Renee Jones. She is the president and CEO and founder of the Renee Jones Empowerment Center. This is a nonprofit organization on the Near West Side that fosters opportunities for the disadvantaged. Her mission is to empower individuals to advocate for themselves and improve their quality of life. But for the last decade, she has really focused her mission on sex trafficked individuals.
I know this is really heavy, hearing all this, but I'm glad to be here to talk about restoration of the victims. Oh, great. So we want to talk about, we want to bring some hope to something that sounds so horrific, so overwhelming, where you may be thinking, is it any hope? And I want to tell you, yes, it is. This is what drives me every single day, even on the day when it was so cold outside and snowy, just to know that we get to come in and share what we do with a room full of people that are interested and who care, because that's how we're going to make a difference. One of the things that we do at the center that we focus on, we're sort of like we're direct care and aftercare services. The first thing I want to tell you, because I heard people ask this question, what's the term, how long of a period is it for someone to recover? I want to tell you, like I tell everybody, this is the new AA, okay, for sex trafficking or any kind of trafficking victim. There is no 6 weeks and you're done. There is no year and you're done. This is a lifetime of support that is needed for individuals. So everything that we do is designed with that in mind. There's no limit. People can come in. We're going to be doing it as long as we're open. Our doors are open and we can provide the services, because just like any other addiction, that support is needed on a constant basis. So Project Red Cord, we work with the victims and survivors during the recovery, because who knows better than what someone needs than the people that have experienced this trauma and been a victim of this heinous crime. So no matter what we develop as far as services and programs, it is always designed with the people in mind. And we always get input. What do you think about this? Are we doing the right thing? What else should we be doing for you? What else should we be asking? Because it's really important to involve people in the process of everything that you're doing if you're going to be providing services. So this is our little spider chart. It continues to grow. This is the vast array of services that are needed for victims to recover. So when you look around, I am definitely an out-of-the-box type thinker. I like to do things that are innovative and different, because it's not a typical classroom where they can come in and you're going to bore them with a bunch of, little papers and statistics. That's not going to work. So I'm very visual, and it's very effective when you're working with helping people to recover and being visual and using creativity. So we use a lot of therapies. We have art therapy, we have journaling therapy, we even have horse therapy, where we take the women and girls to a horse farm, and they get to do some really cool things working with the horses, which really builds up their confidence and their self-esteem. It's really powerful to watch how healing those horses can be in the lives of the people that we're working with. So we like to do things like that. We also have court advocacy, because we want the victims and survivors to always know that we are there with them. Our court advocate is right over here at this table. It's Sister Cecilia Liberator. Hold your hand up, Sister Cecilia. Now, Sister Cecilia does dual duty. She's the main court. She is the court advocate. So that means she goes to the adult court and she goes to the juvenile court. And sometimes it's all in the same. She may be running from one court to the next. But it's very important that this service is provided, because some of the women and girls we may never see at our actual facility, but for them to have someone there for them in that courtroom while they're waiting to go into court to find out what's going on with them, it really is a way of giving them the comfort and healing. And she does that very well. to the fact that they all, most of the, especially the teenagers, they didn't really know the value. I used to tell them, don't, be sure to always remember how valuable it is to have Sister Cecilia in the courtroom with you. And they said, oh yeah. I said, make sure that she has all your court dates, because it's great to have support. I wanted them to appreciate that she is there doing it. And so we always use this case. We had one girl that she would never give the dates, of course, and then it was time for her to go to court. She was going to be in a lot of trouble, and she missed giving the date to Sister Cecilia, which meant that Sister Cecilia wasn't there. And that day, she went to jail. And she never forgot that. She was like, if Sister Cecilia had been there, I wouldn't have went to jail. I said, well, I wanted you to remember the value. Now, we don't know all the particulars, but it was good because she became an advocate for everybody else to say, make sure that you appreciate that we have a court advocate. So we are grateful to have Sister Cecilia and all that she does in the courts. Also, we do, all of these things that you see on the chart, which includes awareness and prevention. Prevention and awareness saves lives. That's the best we can do to prevent this from happening to other people. So the way that we do this is we try to have, we were counting how many conferences we had done. We thought about when we started doing a Northeast Ohio Human Trafficking Conference and Symposium, we're a small storefront on 65th. I was like, we need to do a conference because we need to keep this issue in front of everybody all the time with constant updates. It can't be just something you do every now and then. So we decided to do it twice a year, once in January during National Human Trafficking Month, and then in August to do a symposium. And each time we make sure that we cover a variety of areas related to trafficking, giving you an update on legal issues and what's happening with the law clinic and all of the different services that, in my opinion, in Cleveland, I think we really have a great coordinated effort thanks to the collaborative and all the organizations that they brung together. When I go other places, I'm thinking, as bad as this sounds, we are really doing good because a lot of places don't have as many organized services as we have here. And we definitely have a great team of law enforcement that works with us. So we're grateful for that. So having those conferences is critical to keeping the public aware, keeping those health professions aware. We did an interview on WCPN yesterday, and there was a woman that called in, and she was talking about, she was part of this, like a Uber driver, and just saying how, what do they do? Because sometimes these traffickers, they're so slick, they will arrange rides. They may not take the girl or the woman, but they will use those transportation services to deliver that person up. So she was asking, what do you do? And we talked about, the need to continue to educate in those areas, in those industries. Our job is never done because there's always more people that we need to train and make aware that if you see something, no matter what your business is, it doesn't feel good in your gut, it may or may not be a trafficking situation, but it's better to ask. And I can't remember where it was. I don't know if it was Los Angeles, but there was an Uber driver that, he heard the conversation and, practically, more than likely saved that person's life. So it is important that we continue to do what we're doing. So the education piece is very important. So those conferences are something, and we realized we started the conferences in 2012 with the Notre Dame College as our partner, which means they provide the space for us. And we realized just as last, we've done 10 conferences, and that's pretty amazing. So it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how little you are, how big you are. I mean, we have a storefront, but I got $1 million vision, okay? When it comes to serving people, because I want people to know you can put all those resources together and we can make a difference in people's lives. And even how horrendous, how big, it seems so big when you hear about it, is you think, wow, well, what can we do? Well, we can do a lot, and we can do a lot together. So that is how we work on prevention. We also have the benefit bank site, which we're a site, which means we can apply for benefits on site for any of the victims that need. If they need food, shelters, a lot of different services that we can arrange for through that service. Some of the other things we do, that is the one thing that I'm very proud of, is the law clinic. Because we never had this. I mean, I want people to know the things you hear today are things we never had. The law clinic, is it a year? It's almost about a year and a half. We had women and girls that had all types of legal issues. I remember the first case I had that was a custody, the girl, her kid was a custody case, and we needed legal help. But you know what? There was no legal help because there was nobody that was going to be taking on cases like that. They're very complex. Every case is so complex. But when we were able to get this legal clinic through case, I want people to know without any uncertainty what value that is to these victims. Because our center alone, the women and girls that we have, they have utilized that service and their lives have changed dramatically. We had one woman, which was really powerful. Actually, John actually showed her case. Her trafficker was her husband. Believe it or not, it was her husband. And she served time. She went to prison. But while she was in prison, that's another thing we do, is we go to the prisons. And we kept in touch with her the whole time. I was so sorry that she had to serve time, but she did. But we kept in touch with her, and when she came out, the first thing she did is she came over to that center. So we kept that connection going. But she was a cab driver, and she could not get her license because of the record that she had. The first thing I called was Maureen at the law clinic. I'm like, Maureen, she needs a job. She needs to get her job back. It was instantly. Her court date was the next day in the morning. I didn't give her any kind of notice whatsoever, but they were there. They were available. And you know that she has her job, and she's driving, taking care of her family. She just bought a 2-family home to not only take care of herself, but to provide a house for her mom. And we've just had a variety of issues. They have housing issues, legal, so much. So I always want people to know, I don't think it's anywhere else that I know of that has a law clinic that is serving victims. We went to the State House with Representative Fetter's event, and I was like, Representative Fetter, do you know that Cleveland? I was like, you know the law clinic? Because I don't know anybody else that has it specifically for these victims. So I just want us to feel good about what progress, as bad as this sounds, and it is bad, that there are good things happening to help these victims. So we want to say the importance of partnerships. We also have a partnership with Metro Hospital, and that partnership is really unique. It brings in a family physician and a psychologist to meet with our teen girls. And they come in, and we also partner with the medical school to bring in students who are going to school to be physicians so that they can learn about this issue at a grassroots level. So this has turned in, we've been doing it now a little over a year. Very powerful, the 2 physicians that we have, and all of the students that are coming in and learning and participating. The great thing about it is that these women, these young women, because this group is for teens, they are seeing positive, great male role models that are not, because we don't want to remove them thinking everyone is the same. So we're exposing them to people that are good people, so that they know that if you were, victimized by a male, that all males are not like that. And so the openness to these teenagers receiving these doctors in and receiving most of the students are males, but they come in and they are so engaged, and it's so powerful what happens in those groups. So we're really grateful for that partnership with Metro Hospital and the uniqueness of what it provides, not only to the victims, but also to their staff. And also as part of that partnership is we continue to train their staff. their nurses, their doctors, their coordinators. We set up regular trainings to let them know from our perspective what we're seeing. And that's what we need to continue to do. So those are part of our services. Also, a very important part is outreach. Outreach, we're doing prevention by having all these conferences. We have the human trafficking conferences, but we also do conferences for women and for young women. Every year we just do those, and they have different topics and different things to build up women, build up teenagers, because they're, you keep hearing low self-esteem and all of these issues. So we try to make sure that we're having things that are empowering young women, that are empowering these women to know their value and their worth, and to hopefully make them less vulnerable to these traffickers. So that's really important. The outreach part is really important. Education and outreach it prevents, it helps save lives. We want to do that because it's hard when the person has already experienced all this victimization and trauma. So with the outreach, that's probably one of my favorite things to do other than working directly with individuals. Our outreach is strip club, truck stop, and street outreach. And it is very powerful what happens on the street. The reason why we do street outreach is because most of the trafficking is done online now. When you see women and girls walking the street, a lot of it is because of drug addiction, or they may have a different level of pimping. I mean, because you got all these different levels. So some of these guys or women will try, they just want money and they want it fast, and they may put people on certain tracks. So we kind of scope out what the tracks are. We know where they are, and we do street outreach for that purpose. Our street outreach is done. Our marketing tool is a little bag. It's a nice bag, and it's filled with really nice things that you would like to receive. Personal care items, sometimes little snack or things like that, but we try to make them beautiful. The most beautiful part of the bag is the note that's written by a team member, because I want people to experience. We have just a certain team of people that go out. We learned that early on, that when you say outreach, people think it sounds exciting. Oh man, a strip club, oh street, it sounds like, but no, you have to really be prepared. It takes a certain mindset to be able to walk into a strip club where people are practically half naked and not be fazed by it, but do what you come to do. And it's necessary, because these are parts where the traffickers meet a lot of girls. When you interview a lot of these victims, a lot of them will tell you they worked in a strip club. So when you're in a strip club, you know that the trafficker looks at you like a commodity. How much can they make for you? So when you're in a strip club, you really don't have that many clothes on, so they look at your body and say, wow, she'd be a good one. And so they may start to give you a tip. So if you have a young girl or any woman, anybody in there that needs it, somebody's tipping you $50, $100, they keep doing it, you're going to think, oh, they're really into me, maybe I should go out on a date. That's what happens. And then they let their guard down, they think this person is into them, and they go on a date, or the next thing they know, they're in a trafficking situation. So that is why we do strip club outreach. That is why we do street outreach. We do truck stop outreach, because when we meet the victims, I listen to their stories. I find out what they've been through. And if there's any way we can do something that is going to empower them through our work, we do it. So one of our survivors, she was trafficked at 16 through a truck stop. We went all the way to Youngstown. I met with the chief of police, got everybody. We got together and I said, listen, we have someone that was trafficked here when she was 16. And, nobody, you guys didn't know, we need to train you. So they said, oh, no, it doesn't happen here. They brought all the police in, and they were looking at us like, oh, these people, coming and talking. But I don't care, because I will go in there. Doesn't matter. We went in, and I took the survivor. Raise your hand, Rachel. There she is. So we went in, and we talked, and I let her share her story. And what happened in that training is unforgettable because it happened that one of the detectives, one or two of them, two detectives were still working there. And they remember her. They could never catch her. Didn't know what she was going through. They just thought she was somebody that was just in there, prostituting. Never knew that she was a 16-year-old girl. And when that training was over, they were shocked, including the chief of police. I was like, I told you, chief. But, I said, there is no neighborhood, I don't care where it is, that this cannot happen. Traffickers do not discriminate. I don't care how affluent your area is or how impoverished it is. I always want people to know we have seen people and victims from every suburb that I can think of. I can't even think of one suburb. I can't tell you, I can't, not one. Even rural areas. We were at the prison probably a couple weeks ago, and we had women that have been identified as victims that we were speaking with. And there was a woman, and she said, I live in a rural town. Nobody is going to believe me, because nobody's talking about it. Well, we're going to go there, and we're going to talk about it because we have to be everywhere. And that's why these kind of events are good for you to continue to support and come to, because it's going to take all of us, because nobody can do it by themselves. So that's why that's important. The strip club, I think out of all of the outreaches, is so super powerful because I didn't really know how to go about doing something like that. I didn't know, I'm not your average strip club goer, you know what I mean? So I didn't really know. I'm like, how do you do this? Because I knew that we needed to do it. And so I thought, well, if I pull up and we have some beautiful Valentine's bags, maybe they'll let us in. So I kind of scoped out some different clubs that I thought we should explore. And this one was a little club, but it had lots of cars. I said, this is one. We always traffic in and out. I was like, this is going to be the first one. So I thought, well, maybe I'll call the manager and ask the manager, just like any other situation, we're the center. Can we do outreach? We'd love to reach out to your women. I didn't talk about human trafficking or anything like that. So they were all set. They said, oh, yeah, that sounds good. We have a lot of women. They need things. But then when we were ready to go, they changed their mind. And they said, no, we don't want it. But I don't give up. I'm like, we're getting in those strip clubs. So we kept on going till one day we pulled up with the Valentines. I said, now they can't turn these down. This is how you get volunteers involved. We got faith-based groups involved. I'm like, I need you to make about 40 of the most beautiful bags you have ever seen. They have to be so gorgeous that nobody can turn them down. And we pull up to this club. They have the guy, he's got his gun out visibly so you could see. And he was so disgusted, that I would be pulling up in that club. He's like, ma'am, why are you here? Like I'm his mother. And I said, oh, we're here for the ladies. I said, I know I can't go in, but I would really appreciate if you would mind giving these beautiful gifts to the women inside that we have for them. And he was so taken back, that I would be doing that. He was thinking, who does that? And he said, okay. So he took in just 4, because I thought it's small. There's a lot of cars here, but maybe they just have 4 or 5 girls. And within minutes, and I mean minutes, girls, at least 15 or 16 girls start pouring out in the parking lot. And we're sitting there like, oh my goodness. And we're trying not to be shocked. But they were coming. He said, you only gave me 4 bags. They have 17 girls in here. And I'm thinking, wow. That showed me that we were on the right track. So we kept going back. Easter, any kind of holiday, I was like, okay, that's a religious holiday. Well, Easter baskets, who could turn that down? So we would just come up with different bags with themes. And we would go there until they finally let us in. And now we've been doing it for years. And now the most amazing part to me is the fact that the owner, especially of this one particular club, he always comes out to find me to say, wow, thank you for doing this. And everybody else is like, how could he be saying that, you know? But I thank him for allowing me to come into his business and do outreach, because he doesn't have to, whether I agree with it or not, he doesn't have to allow me to come in. So I'm grateful that they let us come in, because when we went into those clubs, I realized I was shocked at what I seen. I seen very, very young girls. I seen girls in there that I know that their moms are sending them to college, and they may be going in for the right, just thinking I'll make a, you know, dance a little bit, make a little extra money, and not have any idea of what the danger they were putting themselves in. So that is why that is so important in all of these different services. So we try to come up with a lot of things that are innovative to promote healing. And this is, I wanted to show you some visuals. This is our Fieldstone Farms Therapeutic Writing Center, where we take the women and girls. Thankfully that we got a grant to be able to do it. This is something that we take them to, and just recently we were able to, for any of the adult survivors that have teenage children, we are able to include them in this therapy as well, which is really great. And they do, I wanted to show you, they even do artwork. The horses are trained to even let you just paint on them. So it's pretty cool. So we hear what we've done is such a great facility. We're thinking you're trying to teach people how to relive, to learn how to live a new life. So we came together and with another immigration resettlement organization, invited a couple of their women to go with us. And the one woman on the left, she fixed a whole meal for everybody. I mean, it was like a dinner. She fixed this huge meal, and we had a picnic area, and it was just beautiful. It was like they just came together, and we started really paying attention to the need to make sure that we have social outings that are teaching victims how to start reliving their lives, how to do things that are normal, how to do some simple things that are fun. And so those are pictures still, as you can see on the right, one of the survivors going through the maneuvers, teaching the horses how to do all these maneuvers. And it's very powerful because for once, they're in control. They're controlling this big old animal and telling that animal, giving that animal command. So those exercises teaches them about, building confidence and self-esteem. And when we're done with the session, we actually go back to a classroom and process everything. So it's very powerful. Part of the journaling and art therapy is really powerful because sometimes people can't really talk about what they're feeling, but through art, they're able to draw, they're able to paint, they're able to create all kind of writings, and that's really important. This next slide here is our latest project. I wanted to make a movie because I want to just tell it the way that you see it. Sometimes you see this stuff and it's so, you just want to go in there and change everything that they're telling you because it's not what you see. So we did apply to get a grant for a movie, but they didn't give me the grant for the movie. But they did. I also had a backup. I said, well, if I can't get that, how about a training DVD? So that's what we're doing. So we're in production right now for an awesome training DVD that we're going to use for prevention and awareness. Everything is produced, and we're working with. We have 4 survivors in this video, and they're involved in every aspect of the questions that we ask, to the reenactments that you'll see in the video, to every aspect of it. So that's empowering as well because we're not just doing it, but we're getting them involved. And that's one thing that we do is we like to get the victims and survivors involved in every aspect of everything that we're doing. We also have something called the Survivor Speaker Series, and I like to use this slide because the woman at the top, her name is Erica Gold, and she's a Holocaust survivor. So what I thought is that we bring in survivors. If you survived anything, you can relate to another survivor. We don't have to experience the same thing, but if we relate, and I didn't know how powerful this woman would be sharing her story, and her story was, oh my goodness, it was something. And she shared that story with all of the survivors that we had, and it really made a powerful impact to let them know that they could keep pushing, they could make it. And this is just, holiday activity. We have groups that come in. So this is a group that they come in, they do journaling. Group of women, they just volunteer. They do journaling with the women. They do crafts and different things like that. And part of their group produced a book that we sold at our gala, which sold out, which was great. Was called Women of Strength, where all of the survivors wrote something in the book, and we had it at the gala, and they were able to autograph the book, and those are things that are very empowering. So we did that, and that's how powerful volunteers can be. We also involve our survivors in our annual conferences, because it's no matter how many facts or slides we show you, when you see the face of somebody that has happened to, it really brings it home. These are real people, real issues, real people's lives. So that's very important. So when they're ready, we involve them as a panelist in any way that they want to be involved. We involve them in our conferences. And that's just some pictures from there. So in February, we went, we have been going to the State House for the past several years, invited by Representative Fetter. She's from Toledo, but she pays attention to what we're doing here. And she asked me, we did a teen summit a couple years ago, because we're always trying to find a way to educate more people on this issue, especially teens. And she wanted to do a youth summit. And she said, I want to do a youth summit. They always have an annual State House Human Trafficking Day, but she wanted to do a youth summit. I said, you should absolutely do it. Let's do it. So she kind of gave me free rein and said, okay, come on. Let's. What do you think it should be? I said, I think it should be creative. You should have rappers. You should have art. I mean, I believe in bringing it all, as long as it's a message that's going to appeal to them. We had hundreds and hundreds of youth, and Cleveland was well represented, which I was very proud of, to come to the State House where the laws are made, and for them to be in there and have a chance to be able to get involved. We had one of our youth who was at the press conference with Maureen and Representative Fetter, and she spoke at the press conference, and it was a very empowering event for her to be at the State House with all these people, and just, it was powerful. So any chance we get to educate them on the laws or give them an opportunity to get involved, we bring that as well. One of the other things that we do is something called Runway Freedom. It's just another innovative way to share about human trafficking awareness. And we do this through fashion. What we do is we find out some of the worst countries in the world that have a bad record for trafficking, and we talk about trafficking globally, and then we bring it all the way down to what's happening in Cleveland. We involve the survivors as models, if they want to be models. It's very powerful, a beautiful event, and it's just powerful. It's a way for us to educate the public through fashion. We're having a good time. We're talking about all this stuff, but they're learning something. So that's important. We also have an annual candlelight vigil. That is another way that we do to make people, instead of waiting until you usually see those things when someone's been murdered. We make sure to do this in January during Human Trafficking Awareness Month to make people aware. Let's do something. It's a vigil of hope. Let's have hope, and let's make sure people are educated so that more people don't fall victim to this crime. And we partnered with John Carroll University this year, which was great. We've done it at the Old Stone Church downtown for several years, and we thought we want to be able to reach more young people. So we went to a college campus, And we did that. So we're glad of that. Social outings, again, is really big. Learning how to just have regular fun, go to restaurants, do things together as a family. So we have separate nights for teens. And I try to, this particular picture is, there's an arcade. Now, most people are all these digital technology, and I thought most of these kids probably haven't even seen an arcade machine. So there's this arcade place up the street from the center. They have all these old arcade games. It's so much fun. You have to have tokens and all the stuff. And I didn't know how they would like it, but they loved it. So we just try to give them new experiences and new fun and make it special. Those are come out, and this was our little holiday. We all went to Famous Dave's and had a great time. So events where we can come together and make it a family, because sometimes we're the family. So, And our annual Woman to Woman, these are some of the conferences. Our Traffic Stop, which is a teen conference for teen awareness, where we utilize the teens, and we have had correctional facilities. We had 2 young men from the Cuyahoga Hills Correctional Facility that we trained for a year to deal with the demand side and to teach. They actually facilitated this conference. And those are pictures from the conference. And then last is our annual gala celebration. And at our gala, that is our time to introduce some of our survivors at our annual fundraiser. And what we do is send the women out to get ballroom dancing lessons. And that's how we introduce them to our audience, because we want them to feel so beautiful on that all the time. But it's really powerful. And those are just some shots of them dancing. That's it. Any questions?